And we'll be back from the break. Let's get into the press review where we review the top stories coming in from the papers there. And definitely, I think it is high time you first give us your submission on the Djibouti and Uganda relationship.
Right, if you just joined in, we had an insight about Uganda-Djibouti relationship that has is now being embarked on that following yesterday's interaction with the two governments. And a lot of Ugandans have shown the excitement because of what has come out. And you as well excited about importing a car from there on 4 million, that is Uganda shillings. But you're forgetting the cost you're going to incur, a double cost you're going to incur.
I'll drive it from there.
So you go and drive it from Djibouti. That means you're relocating.
No, if I want to drive, I go to Djibouti, I drive, then I come back in Uganda.
You're just kidding,
that's joking.
But a highlight here is this is coming at a point, and you heard very well from Mohamudu there, that is the ambassador Djibouti to Uganda, was highlighting why the country is so centered, and that's the reason as to why this is coming out to be a very good, strategy for many opportunities. And not forgetting that for this particular year, Djibouti has already done sealed trade relation deals with the US government, with Egypt. Have been seeing it has sealed even with China as well. And so then,
China is my favorite country.
I know China, and that brings out, that recommends a very strong strategy for Djibouti. How about Uganda? Whereas it has got a strategy or coming to you, highlighting for you, okay, I have my uncle is a lawyer, and the president is my friend, president of Uganda, and then I am telling you, Babu is Babu represents what? Why were you?
I was about
Babu represents. Babu represents seats in the East African community, on the East African Community Committee, and Babu is my brother. So I have the strength that I am standing on. And where does that leave you? So I'm coming to you and telling you, hey, when you be my friend, you see the opportunities that you're going to miss out, or that you might have. What is your reaction? Do you just jump on board, or you have to make sure you consider the relations that you as well, Joram, have had with other people and how they're working out, and also what exactly you're going to come on board with? Because it's coming with a lot of excitement. You saw people's reaction from Kasita highlighting if they could the government could now free up some zones. It's going to help a number of people.
Actually, to do with the free zones, that if at all you're not in the free zone, you will not be protected. So that is the other twist about the entire deal and the relationship. And then Kasita was also worried about one thing, that there are a lot of these deals that have happened, that of recent Ugandan traders went to South Sudan to carry on with the trading and all that. But once the war broke out, most of them lost out, and they had no backup plan. They had no support. And so these are some of the things whereby Kasita has been calling on government to set on board agreements.
Exactly.
In that such circumstances, if such circumstances occur,
what is it
for the Ugandan traders?
That's exactly what I was trying to communicate, Joram. Have you learned from your current mistakes? Because they're already happening. We
quite have a number, by the way.
Ourselves reportedly withdrawing association. So how are you learning from the previous, mistakes you have made as a country, signing up deals and agreements that at the end of the day are going to put you in trouble either way, or actually highlight your individuals struggling to pull out even when there is a problem? For example, traders. So to me, that's the submission around there. If Uganda is coming on board, yes, even they have told you the reason as to why they are coming to you, because you are a centered country. You are highlighted to be, the center. That means a lot of opportunities are coming to you from different corners. can't you realize and say, okay, I'm in the center, but what is my weakness? If everyone is seeing it as an opportunity, that means it's a strong weakness for you. Otherwise, when you revise on how your agreements and terms of success around trading with other partners are going to be, you may not fall culprits and victims of all these circumstances happening when there is a war breakdown, when there is inflation happening to Djibouti, for example. It's going to affect you back. That means you have to get means and strategy of Uganda standing on her own in case of any crisis.
Well, but looking at the other side of the coin, there are quite a number of opportunities there. For, let's take it in context for Djibouti and then for Ugandans, because when it comes to service rendering, there is room for at least where you could see even education services, Ugandans going in there to actually get some jobs. We've also mentioned about how cheap the cars are and how other commodities can as well, if at all you're doing business from there, how you can definitely go in away from cutting off the cost of the taxes. You can see it can be friendly in a way that you go in there and do some good business if you're a Ugandan trader and you're very strategic.
I believe there are opportunities, Joram, but conclusively on this Djibouti agreement is that even when you're telling us the cars are 4 million Uganda shillings in Djibouti, have you looked at the maintenance when they come here? Have you looked at the brands when they come back here? When it gets a breakdown, how easy are you going to get a replacement when you're back here? So all those have to be mastered and entailed, integrated on and revised before actually signing of the agreements.
And also details in Djibouti also reveal that the teachers in there teach more of the French, and yet most of the businesses are operating in English. So for the English teachers, you can as well go in there, make some good money. Back in primary, we had stories that Ugandan teachers would go to Rwanda and teach English. So I believe even others were actually heading to Kenya.
They will be also getting
in here, so in Uganda. So I believe also this can happen, and creating the education services and pushing or doing a labor exportation situation to Djibouti, whereby we can render services, get the money. And these are the opportunities that are coming in from such partnerships. But however, government has to make sure that the agreements are on board, that Ugandans, in case something wrong happens.
The consumer. Even when you speak about the externalization of labor, how favorable is it to Ugandans? Because we don't want any situations that are going to arise in the end. People are crying out, okay, I've lost life, I've lost someone relative who has gone to work in Djibouti. So it rotates back to how ready are we. The question is, how ready are we for new relationship? You realize we are in already a new relationship with the DRC. We are getting new relations with some other governments. How about Djibouti coming on board? How is our capacity? Meanwhile, you don't have to, pull your ropes everywhere. Even when Joram is promising you, you're entering a new relationship, someone is promising you an iPhone, a laptop, everything. But have you revised your capacity? How are you going to handle these new relationships that are coming on board? If you're already broken at some point, aren't you anticipating another brokenness in the anytime soon? So sometimes it's good to sit back and then revise ourselves and also come back to hit on these people with a strong reason as to why we should join them.
Well, and also when you look at this particular situation, as we are trying to sum up with the Djibouti-Uganda relation, is that Djibouti and China got into a partnership whereby most of the goods that will be getting into the African continent, or to be precise, the East African continent, will be passing through Djibouti. So I do believe most of the traders can still utilize this chance, because it would seem very cheaper, since it is a partnership that was done between Djibouti and China, so that they can easily get more of these particular goods and commodities on their way. So that's it from the Djibouti and Ugandan agreement, but we do look forward to getting deeper in understanding how this is going to be implemented, where are the benefits for the Ugandans, and how will the Ugandans benefit at the end of the day, or even how will the Djibouti people benefit?
Well, now let's drive you to what is happening online, and this is courtesy of Daily Monitor, highlighting how experts sound inflation alarm as diesel price outstrips petrol. And what you need to know maybe is that between June 2021 and March 2022, fuel prices in Uganda have been going up than 1,000 shilling, and also around 5,340 shillings at some point. That's in reference to Total fuel stations. Diesel being sold at around 5,340 shillings, while the petrol went up to 5,310. And now experts are coming out, Joram, to warn about the impending inflationary tendencies, that how government has actually failed to rein on the skyrocketing diesel prices, which have since surpassed petrol. And in a mini survey made by media, they were highlighting and revealed that more stations, pump stations, are actually selling diesel at almost the same price as petrol, like you were highlighting for us as we were beginning our show here. And this is totaling around Total and diesel prices around 5,340, between 5,340 and also 5,410. And at some pump stations around Kampala, it's actually moderately favorable, where those prices are intangible. And to conclude here, fuel prices began rising in July 2021 from 3,700 on for petrol and 3,200 for diesel, and by December 2021 a liter of petrol costed around 4,580, and yet demand was very low due to restrictions and also certain lockdown effect that we were ongoing as a country. And now it has been going up for more than 1,000 shillings. But however, government is highlighted here to have definitely failed, Joram, onto mitigating all these means and making sure we find a way forward or an answer for the petrol and also increasing prices. But our transporters were highlighting yesterday that they will certainly increase fares that were between 5,000 to 10,000. So you realize you'll have to make sure you bargain on some routes, because they were given liberty, to increase prices. But again, they're highlighting it's no longer a 1,000 like we were anticipating, that it's going to be a bargaining matter. If they see you and you have money, they will tell you 7,000, where they take for 5,000 or 4,000. So you have to bargain fairly to make sure you be a part of logistics and transportation plans, not to fall victim of what they call fuel crisis and amafuta galinye crisis, because everywhere you go to board, someone will tell you amafuta galinye togalaba. So for you not to fall under that victim, you have to make sure you bargain very well. But the fares are between 5,000 and 10,000. Okay, to put it in context, if you've been traveling with a taxi and they've been taking you for around 2,000, so that means you calculate between 2,000 and then not 3. The 1,000 is not counting now.
Oh.
Between 2,000 and 500 and 5,000 maybe.
I thought 500. Taxis these days don't count.
That's why you count. That's why you budget from, Joram. So that is a conclusive report so far, how we're faring as a country in regards to fuel pricing and the skyrocketing of around fuel prices.
And then in the other news, just recently here, the Rwandese president was in the country over the weekend after 4 years. But details coming in reveal that Rwanda is recovering strongly from the pandemic. That is according to the CEO of Kigali, that is Diane Karusisi. And as of September 2021, the assets had grown by more than 28%. And then the net loans had grown by 20%, reflecting demand from the private sector and showing the appetite to invest in the economy. This correlates positively with the growth of GDP. And according to Rwanda, they've seen a fantastic 2021 Q2 growth of 20% and growth of more than 10% in Q3. This year, they expect to see double-digit gross domestic product growth. So that is where you see, as Rwanda's largest bank, says that the future demand is in for the service sector, as Rwanda is showing maturity in its handling of the COVID crisis, and this has helped across sectors, and the Bank of Kigali being the center of all these developments. And for the simple reason, all these sectors transact, and then Rwanda is strongly getting back to the pandemic, or getting out of crisis from the pandemic.
You know, that reminds me of the MK celebration, MK at 48. We attended, we were there, Joram, and you were a witness for myself. It was no longer hidden, because according to what we saw, it was highlighted, it was being portrayed as if Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the first son, is going, to succeed his father in a seat of presidency for Uganda, as the president of Uganda. It was not a lie, I mean, because it's out there, and it was, highlighted on that very day as well. So, and when he came out to speak in his message for Ugandans, or for people who came to attend, the first son, that is Lieutenant Muhoozi Kainerugaba, was highlighting on the two major factors, or the two major incidences where he's going to focus on. You were there. Number one was about entertainment and sports. So he highlighted the two, because he realized many people, leaders have come out always to front agriculture, to front different sectors, agriculture, to front trade, and it's like this has not worked out very effectively. Then how about we go to entertainment and sports, because he realized arts and talent are one of the most things that actually the young people, the youth, are into. And when you hold those together, when you support them, that means a number of talents, a number of people, artists, a number of youth, because they're excited about all these things, are going to tap into those systems. Why did I bring it up? I brought it up because this actually follows the visit of President Kagame of Rwanda coming to this country. Many have reflected it to Muhoozi Kainerugaba's, birthday celebrations, and all the relationship that he has been able to front as an individual. Number one, he initiated the reopening of the Gatuna border, the Rwanda-Uganda border, and you're seeing those relationships are still being maintained fully. So, which is why I felt like at least you have to share this, some of the reasons that have been happening. So we are waiting to see what really is going to come up from all of this, and what makes us stronger with Rwanda, and also how relationships of trade keep on stronger with all these relationships at hand. Joram.
All right, and with that particular ones, you could clearly see that we as Uganda should have bigger lessons to pick out from that particular matter, more so with the fact that Rwanda's is greatly getting back after the pandemic hit them hard. Well, and that bringing us to the end of the press review. We're getting into a memory of the late president to Kenya, that is Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki was a trained economist from Makerere University, and the recent also Professor Barnabas Nawangwe also eulogized the late Kenyan president, and it is highly believed that he's a man who changed Kenya's economic landscape, because when he went into power, the GDP was quite lower, and then the education sector was performing poorly, and also the economy was not greatly performing, and it was this same man who greatly lifted the economy of Kenya to where, he had actually put a stepping stone to where Uhuru Kenyatta has followed up in regards to making sure that the economy strongly stays. He only ruled for 2 terms, but he did pass on last week. So let's have more of this particular report. Kibaki